What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special edition of Ill Communication. Today, it is a beautiful day here in San Francisco, California, and it is a very fortuitous occasion because one of my dearest friends, ROBB, has flown all the way across the continent to come visit. For those of you that don't know, I used to have a breakbeat alias known as the Fat Conductor, and when I was just a wee lad and Rob was a wee lad and we were in Toronto, we used to be breakbeat DJs in the late 90s, early 2000s, and Rob ran a record label called Promo Records, and he put out a lot of really good music, and we made a lot of breaks and electro together. And
browse.
And browse. A lot of browse. And yeah, it was a good time. So hey, Rob, welcome to San Francisco, man. Thanks for making the trip over here to visit, man. I'm glad we got a good day. Sometimes it's like cold and foggy here and stuff. So.
I love it because it feels like just yesterday we were hanging out again. You're one of those people I think we can go years and then pick right back up like old times.
It's literally been years. So I also just got back from Cuba, and I've been waiting for an excuse to bust out one of these fine Cuban cigars. This is the real deal, man. Monte Cristo. Very tasty. So tell us a little bit about your life has gone through all kinds of crazy things. You've been experimenting with music production for many years, doing all different kinds of approaches, and what's good? Like, what are you into right now? What's making you excited about music and life and things? What's turning your crank?
Stuff. One is being out of tune with the newest, brand new music, because when I was in it all the time, it was always I was on the promo lists and getting the stuff and talking all the time, and then it got to be about the people and the labels and the personas and the noise versus the actual music. And I'm going out dancing now, and I don't know most of the stuff, and I just go let loose, and I go to the front of the dance floor and I sweat my ass off, and I'm jumping and screaming, and I feel like a teenager again, and I'm just loving it for the sake of loving it. Been traveling a little bit, working a little bit on my Espanol, on my Spanish, was in Colombia, was in Dominican Republic.
Wow.
I had a really mind-blowing experience in Colombia 8 weeks ago.
Oh yeah? Tell us about that. Yeah, what's the story there?
So, it's funny. It's January, things are on sale. My girlfriend had gone the year before. She had an incredible time. She wanted to go. I decided I want to go to Colombia. Talking to friends, relatives, whatever, everyone's like, oh, why are you going? Are you sure? You're going to get kidnapped? Is it safe? And my mom was like, why? Like,
yeah, my parents were terrified when we went to Jamaica, and we were like, yeah, we're going to spend a month in Kingston. People were like, don't do it, no!
Why? Yeah, and it's just this whole notion, and I get it, because, in 48 to 58 is when they went through the period of La Violencia, where there was civil unrest to the point where 200,000 people died. And then you skip forward a couple decades, and then it's the Pablo Escobar time where, those guys were like running under, the motto was plato o plomo. Either you're going to take my money, you're going to take the bribe, or I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to kill you. So that was...
Plato or plomo is, I think, bribe or bullet, right?
Yeah. You're going to take my money, you're going to take my bribe, or you're going to take the bullet. So... And at its peak in '91, the country saw 23,000 murders. And in Medellin, where he's from, where he was running his home base from, it was 6,000 murders in the 1 year in one city. So that's the history. So knowing that noise, I understand why my friends are like, but I went, and the people are incredible, and the country's going through this massive transformation, and they're spending all this money on infrastructure, on culture, on public transportation. They're really connecting all the disenfranchised remote slums in the city with cable cars, with the subway, with an outdoor escalator. It was, the kind of the pinnacle moment is we got a graffiti tour in Comuna 13, which was notoriously one of the most violent, dangerous neighborhoods, because if you control this hood, you control the highway to the mountains, which means if you're running drugs and smuggling weapons, that's important. That's important real estate. And we got a hookup through a friend who was staying at a hostel, and we got a 22-year-old kid. He's lived in the neighborhood his entire life. He lives in a shanty house with 11 other relatives, including his aunts, uncles, and stuff. And he's a graffiti artist, and he gave us a tour.
That's so cool.
He's proud, and he's showing his stuff, and he's like, this is his work, this is his friend's work, and it's a 2-hour graffiti tour, and he's talking about everything and the changes, and just hearing him and just his story, because he's telling us, like, I remember being afraid to go to school. I remember, you know, seeing things that made me scared of people. I was afraid of people.
Yeah.
And now he's doing these tours a couple days a week, and he's learning that people are mostly good, and he doesn't need to be afraid of people. So that's the kind of stuff that's going on in my life. A little bit of travel, a little bit of, you know, exposing myself, and just not being fully embedded into the world of music the way I used to be. But don't tell anyone, but I might be making a little bit of music.
He's itching. He's itching.
Oh, but it's for the right reasons. I'm not making it because I have to. I'm not making it because I got a deadline. I'm not making it because I have to make money to feed the kids. It's fun.
Yeah, it can sometimes become a bit of a grind, you know. And I mean, I remember, you know, when we were first coming up, and like when you're doing like a vinyl release, you know, there's so much pressure to fit into that box in the record store, you know, where there's people are going every week to buy this genre. They're not looking at the other genres. They don't care. They just need new records in this genre, and there's just so much of a pressure to like to fit that.
And it was even before the box. It was the distributor. You're talking to the distributor, and he's like, "What am I putting this under?" Because they were sending out fax releases once a week
machines
to all the stores, where they had the lists and they had the summaries, which they normally just rip off the one sheets. And it was like, well, what category am I putting this under on the fax? And if you can't give me a clear defined category, I can't move it. And if I can't get it to the stores, it can't even get into that box. So yeah, and it was just so cost prohibitive then. It was you.
Oh yeah, you could, like, you know, if your record label made the wrong decision, you could lose like $10,000 or more sometimes.
Yeah. So it was either you had to find all this money to front, like beg, borrow, steal from friends and family and stuff.
Oh, just grab an ashtray.
Ashtray break.
Yeah, ashtray break.
Ashtray
break.
break.
You either had to find all this money,
or convince someone else with the money to like take a break on you. Like you needed to get someone else to pick you, right?
Yeah.
You had to someone else to say, "I hereby choose thee." And there were gatekeepers, right? It's the whole gatekeeper mentality, which doesn't exist now.
Oh, it's amazing, the difference now. It's just, I love it, man. I mean, recently I did this record with my friend Nathan. Well, he wasn't really a co-producer. He's more like an instigator of this record. But I met him. He's like a tea traveler, right? He loves travel. And I mean, I gotta say, you know, if there's one thing that just is the best investment you can make in life, it's travel. Like, things break, but you know, those memories are with you forever.
Yep.
And when you share, you know, a travel experience with someone you love, it's just like, you know, amazing, right? So anyway, my friend Nathan, he's a tea traveler, and he goes around meeting tea farmers and then mailing people tea. And he had this vision for this urban tea house remix project where, you know, he wanted to have a bridge between producers in Asia, because there's a lot of like young electronic music producers in Asia and like India, China, Hong Kong and stuff that are coming up. They're making like really sick like trap and electro and stuff now. So he wanted to kind of have a bridge between those producers and traditional Chinese music and tea culture in the West. And he was like, okay, I got access to, like, it just took him years to get access to this recordings, but he got access to all these recordings of like traditional Chinese music, and it was on the condition that we are promoting Chinese culture and tea, right? So I was like, okay, sure, I'll take a crack at this. So he flies me out to Austin, and I'm like, what the fuck? Am I really making a fucking tea record right now? And, you know, made the track with all these like samples, and you know, I finished it, and I was really having trouble fitting it into my sets and stuff, because it's just such a like abstract, like half the drums are made out of teacups and stuff. And you know, and then we put it out, and next thing you know, it was like featured on iTunes Australia, iTunes Canada, iTunes US, and you know, I got more press from this record than any record that I've done, and it's like in the glitch hop charts doing well, but it's like not a glitch hop. They just know me as a glitch hop artist, but it just like just doesn't matter now, you know. Like, you can make a record about fucking tea and it'll do great.
It's just that would have never made it out before.
Never.
No one would have backed that. It was like, get out of here. Or you could have done it yourself at a cost of thousands of dollars, knowing like, I'm doing this project, but I'm burning money because I care this much about tea.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a great time to be alive, man. And I just remember, like, you know, so many times, like, you know, going into those meetings with Tamir and Rich, you know, and they'd be like, okay, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But this sounds kind of like this producer. Do more of that, you know?
We can market this.
Yeah, we can market this. And, you know, times have definitely really changed. But I mean, God bless Rich and Tamir and the whole Toronto crew, you know.
Yeah,
we're not complaining about that. We're just complaining about the dynamics of the industry at the time. Yeah. You know, very important to
Well, that's the thing now. And it's not that there's not still that pressure to give me something marketable, but you can either make that choice that I'm going to be in this mass market pipeline, or you can just do your own thing and you don't need anyone's permission to get it out there, to share it, to promote it, to release it, to just, I've made this thing and I want to share it with the world. So
and I think the days too of like you remember in the 90s when people had like junglist tattoos like across their chest and shit. Oh man, like you just would not get someone interacting with a subgenre like that, or even like, you know, people who are like, I mean, maybe like surfers and skateboarders are kind of like that still, but like for music genres, no way that would happen now. Like even hip hop artists, they listen to like, you know, I mean, like all kinds of weird stuff, you know, like Electro and like Aphex Twin, and you know, like nobody just listens to one genre of music anymore. So
no, it's not coming through these select channels. I remember even down to the nights, it was certain nights in certain clubs, they promoted this thing. That's what it was. You were signing up for, this is a tech house night, this is a breaks night.
Yeah.
And I always dabbled into other stuff. I loved playing a little bit of house. I loved playing a hip hop record on the wrong speed. I loved slowing down a drum and bass record. And I used to get in shit from the breaks purists because I'd be at a breaks night and I'd throw in some other stuff to mix it up, and people were like, this isn't breaks, this is, what are you doing, this is sacrilege.
Yeah, totally.
Taking shit too seriously.
Totally. Yeah, it's really amazing to see how not like that it is now, and like the genres just have the loosest definitions, you know, like vaporwave and stuff. It's just like, it's just so like, they're like, well, it's got to be ironic and it's got to involve this type of graphic design. I'm like, that's a music genre now, you know, like it's just fantastic.
I don't even know what that is. I got.
Oh yeah, vaporwave. It's good. You got to get down with H3 Productions, man. It's like this comedy guy. He's amazing. But yeah, vaporwave is also a music genre, but it's like ironic comedy, trap, cloud, vapor, YouTube genre. It's fucking great. I love it. Awesome. I love it. Yeah, it's really good. So one thing that I think is pretty cool. Rob and I were hanging out last night, and he just got off the plane. I was really excited to show him some stuff I was working on. But really, you know, working with like Machine and with Push is really cool because, you know, I when I first started producing, you know, I like sold weed all summer and bought an MPC. And that was like what I learned on, like I couldn't afford the extra memory, you know, I had to sell weed all summer just to get the MPC. So it's like you have 8 seconds of memory and you'd have to like speed the records up to sample them and then speed them back down in the sampler to save memory because there's no memory. But just learning to produce on that hardware where you're like, okay, here, hit sample on this pad. Okay, go over to my synth, play the synth. The synth goes into the pad. Okay, now that sound is on that pad and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, with Push, like you can sample into the drum rack now with the new Push, and then Machine you can sample into it. And really just getting out of editing mode and into like jamming mode, like actually like hitting pads with your hands and being able to edit samples with the wheels and everything. It's just so cool to see it come full circle, you know.
It felt like playing last night. That's the whole thing. Instead of I'm staring at a screen and I'm editing, and I could be editing an Excel doc, but I felt like I felt like playing, jamming, and it reminded me of the second record I ever made, Stick Up Kid. It's just a bunch of samples, breakbeat kind of thing, and it was on a, I don't even know, it was a Sony sampler or something. It was nothing.
Sony made samplers?
Something. I didn't even know. I have a picture. I could be wrong. Anyway, it was just a little sampler, and I had same thing. I had 8 or 16 tactile squares, and I laid out a couple sequences based on the limited memory bank I had, and I brought someone over, just Sheldon Street, and I played him.
Sheldon.
Hey, what's up? And I showed him, like, this is what I got this rhythm, here's the breakdown, and I was like, but I need to get this, I need to turn this into a full song. So I went to the studio with him, and we worked, I think it was in Logic at the time, maybe, and he helped me lay it out and clean it up and, you know, add a proper kick. But it was from that playing. I played with it first, and then I got something, and then we structured it out and, you know, polished it a bit. So it felt good last night jamming with you.
Yeah, it's really I don't know. I think it's really made me a lot more excited to make music again lately, you know. And it was really I was meeting Mad Zach and KJ Saka and really like working with those guys a bunch. So I really got to give credit where credit's due. And even Mad Zach, he taught me my first MIDI fighter routine, and I still do it every show. It's like as a little homage, you know. But yeah, Mad Zach, he's a fellow Toronto guy, and this company DJ Tech Tools in San Francisco, they make these MIDI controllers where it's like 16 arcade buttons, so it's kind of like a MPC made out of arcade buttons. They're so fun. You'll have to play with one. But yeah, I went over to his house, just biked over, and he just took the MIDI fighter off his desk and was like, "Here, it's yours, go," you know. And I don't know, it just really like, it just made me really excited about music again, you know. And not that I was ever not excited about music, but it just made me, it turned my excitement from like an 8 to an 11, you know. And then just seeing like the way a lot of people are just taking it more and more live. And I played with these guys Fire on New Year's Eve, like FYER, and they were just awesome, like full, like, you know, guitar, and like their guitar player is like just shredding like a hammer and pull guitar solo while playing chords on a synth for himself, and they have like live drums and stuff, and it's just like the most hectic, like crazy fun music, you know. And like, I don't know, I mean, I got another new, I might be starting a band that's top secret, but yeah, it's been really cool to see things get hands-on. It's kind of like you know, things go in cycles, you know. And for a while, like when I was coming up, I was really kind of like, oh, nobody's really into like mid-tempo-y breakbeat stuff, like, you know. I always liked hip-hop and industrial music, and
that stuff you were playing last night was like totally reminiscent to
it's
breaks.
But it's new, and then now that's back in again, you know. And then you look at a guy like DJ Snake, for example, you know, and he was making like trap forever, you know, like trappy electro 808 bass music, you know. And 808s were out of fashion for a while and nobody cared, and then suddenly the 808's all cool again. He's like, oh great, well I was just always doing this, so now it's my turn. And now he's like, you know, he's got these records that are like huge chart-topping smash hits, you know. So you might have to wait 10 years for whatever your style is, but if you stick to your guns, you know, eventually things are going to come back around.
For sure. It's the whole do what you do because you love doing it, get amazing at it, and then the reward will come. And if you're doing it for the reward, then you're going to be set up for disappointment and waiting for the thing.
And then the reward doesn't come and you get discouraged, and then that's it.
But if you're doing it for here and then you hit those walls, because you will, then you're like, it doesn't matter because I'm doing it for love. TJR.
Yeah. He's huge now.
Okay, so
huge now.
I've been friends with him for a long time. Terry Mullen, shout out, old school Midwest killer DJ, really part of the founders as far as North American, you know, like rave scene in the 90s. He tipped me off to TJ and then introduced us, and then we started chatting on MySpace, and then TJ did a couple remixes for me. Super cool guy. And I remember being at Burning Man with him, and everyone was like, oh, you need to move. He's living in Connecticut still, and he's working some shit off his job that he hated. Yeah. Everyone's like, you gotta come to LA, it's your time, come to LA. So he moved to LA, and he started making music, and things picked up a bit. He got a couple better gigs, and he got, you know, a remix or two on some labels that are a bit better known, but he still wasn't making it, and he was running out of money, and he was just taking everyone's advice. Everyone's like, oh, this didn't blow up because it's back to the same, the talk earlier, the label's like, well, you do more of this, well, if you change this, well, if you focus on this, and he was doing it. I mean, he's telling me how he's like, every record was a little different, he was taking everyone's advice, and he just said, fuck it. He's like, you know what? He decided, I'm like,
nobody's advice.
No one's advice. But this is the thing. He's just like, I'm throwing in the towel. I don't think it's going to happen. And if it's not going to happen, I'm going to do it for the right reasons. I'm going to do it from my heart. And that next record he made was Funky Vodka, which went to be #1 on Beatport. And then that's the record that Pitbull used for, hey.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Don't stop the party.
Oh, man.
And he made that after deciding, fuck it, I'm going to stop listening to everyone's advice and I'm going to make what my heart wants to make. And then it happened.
Well, I think it's also, too, it's like, you know, a lot of producers, they'll be halfway down a track, and then they'll send you an MP3 or something, and they'll be like, what do you think about this? And it's like, you're creating a world. That's your job, is to create a world, you know? And if you don't know what's best for your own music, who does? You know, like, you are by definition the god of that universe that you're creating. It's your universe that you're creating. Like, you need to know, you know, and that's why I think so much of being able to be successful in the music business comes down to just confidence, you know, like pretty much anything else in life. It comes down to just like being able to really be like, you know what, this is good, you know, and I'm, you know, sometimes you might feel like a freak, but there are freaks like you out there waiting for your music and your weird T record or whatever, and then the next thing you know, it's like things will pop off. But yeah, it's really, I don't know, it's a great time to be alive, man. It's a great time to be making music.
It's a great time. I'm rereading the book Start With Why, and I
haven't heard about this book.
Oh, it's such a good book. The author, Simon, his last name is escaping me right now, but it's just 1,000 examples in your personal life or in your business life or whatever it may be, as far as knowing what your purpose is and knowing what your why is and standing behind your why statement. And it goes back to this, like, why are you doing it? Are you doing it from the heart, or are you just trying to sell based on like discounts, based on like perceived like promotional manipulative things? And it's, you know, the difference between Apple, what do? They make innovative, disruptive products. What, you know, and what are the features? Doesn't matter. Versus the other computer companies that are like faster this, longer battery life, and trying to sell in all these features, but no one's loyal to Dell. No one's like a diehard Dell person, and that. And then just, he goes up and down and sideways through all these different examples, and dating too. Like, we go out on a date and I say to you, hey, I love this, I'm really passionate, I get up every day, I know what I'm doing, I'm inspired about this. And if that's the talk, how likely we are to end up on a second date versus like, hey, I'm rich, I'm pretty good looking, I'm doing well, I got a fat bank account.
Kill me.
Right? And what are your chances of getting to a second date? Or if you go to a second date, then I have to continue with pushing those manipulative sell points, like I'm going to be like...
I'll have to read that.
Oh, it's
okay, so what, title and author one more time?
It's Start With Why. The author's first name is Simon. His last name is escaping me, but if you Google that...
Start With Why.
Start With Why.
Cool.
Start with the purpose. What is the why? Not the what, not the how. Why the fuck are you doing this? Why are you making this record? Why are you making this project? Why are you standing on stage? Why? What is your purpose? And people will be attracted to your purpose versus if you're like... cheapest place in town, it's like, that doesn't work. It's the, and we can relate this to so many things, especially to DJs, producers. If you're thinking like, you can undercut people and get the gig because you charge $100 less than another person, or you can keep putting out quality things that you really believe in, and then people will pay any price because people really want to see you. And I don't think it's too far off from the 1,000 loyal fans, like 1,000 dedicated fans.
1,000 true fans model. That changed my life.
I think those, like, there's an intersection there that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Very cool. So, you know, you've definitely like had a lot of experience in the music industry and a lot of real kind of like breakthrough moments and stuff. Can you tell us a story of like one of these breakthroughs and like how it positively affected your mental outlook and your career?
Wow. Every goddamn gig counts. Every gig counts.
Yeah.
Every gig. And I don't care if you're showing up, if there's 10 people there, if the room's half full, if the promoter's ripping you off, every gig counts. And I've got a couple of these kind of stories. One of them that stands out because it did this domino effect a bunch of other things. There was a night in Toronto on a Saturday, and it was an all-ages night. Showed up. It was pretty good. It was half full, whatever. And I poured my heart into it like I tried to most nights. And someone who was there, it was their first night out dancing. And it just planted a seed with them that just never left. And then fast forward a year or 2 years later, they're in BC, and on the Shambhala message board, there's people saying like, what acts would you like to see? Yeah. What acts would you like to see? And he went on day and night saying ROBB, like every day, like posting links to my stuff, just like...
That's awesome.
And then that led to me playing, and then the Shambhala gig went really well, which led to like, that led to all these other things. And then why? Because when I showed up to this gig with 120 people at it, there was an all ages night in a sketchy after hours club. I played my heart out like I would. I gave it my all, and no differently, and it just had this other domino effect. And like I ended up at a gig in North Carolina playing with A-Track because of another similar story. I was playing another gig. It was just some little like schmo gig, whatever. And I played like it was the most important gig of my life. Someone was there from North Carolina who was doing an event. So there's these moments, and if you're ready for them, if you're practicing at home, it's like people are like, oh, I'll do it when it happens. I'll change when it happens. When this thing happens, I'll do. No, you got to be doing those things so that when that opportunity is there, you can jump on it. Earlier in my career, when I was like such a smaller scale, but it really did ignite so many things. In '99, I was living in Barrie. You don't know where it is.
It's a suburb of Toronto.
Not even. It's an hour and a half north. It's like...
Well, Toronto's big.
I love Barrie. It's the first place I moved to when I moved out of my parents' place, but it's just there wasn't much going on there, and I was trying to get into the Toronto scene, and I was trying to get these other gigs, and there was a promotion company that worked in Hamilton called Metro. They worked with Dose. They put on this party, and it was like Donald Law, DJ Dan, like...
Hi guys, if you're watching.
Love those boys, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
All these guys playing, and I was supposed to play at 4 a.m. in the 4 or 5 a.m. downstairs in the small room, and I show up and someone is late. Johnny's late and he's stuck in traffic on the highway and he can't get there, and then the promoter tasks me, he's like, I need you on now. In this main room, and it's 1 a.m. there's 1,500 people there, and I just did my thing. And I remember I got in the zone, I got in the flow, it just, whatever things were, everything was this, that, or that next thing here, and the phasing, it just like, and I remember overhearing behind me, there was one of the promoters just turned to someone else, like, that's why I booked him. And that led to so many things, and then I ended up playing all these other big parties, and I got to play all these big raves, and it led to all these other things, and because I was there prepared, and I was playing, practicing every goddamn day, morning and night, after school, like any moment I had a chance, I was collecting, I was nerding out on it, so that when the opportunity came, I was ready for it, instead of being like, oh, I'm just gonna wait for this thing,
or trying to force an opportunity to happen. Because if you try and force opportunities to happen, they're not gonna happen.
No.
You know? Yeah, that's really that's awesome. And I remember one thing that you told me, because stage fright is like a real thing, you know, especially, you know, when you're passionate about music, you're passionate about your career, and sometimes you get handed one of these opportunities, and you know, your dog might have just died, or like something might be going on in your life, but you know, you're more than just like a technician up there trying to mix as well as you can. You know, you have to set the vibe and set the tone and be like the mascot for this party. And you've always had like a really incredible stage vibe, you know, regardless of what's going on in your life. And I remember you told me that you had created a magic switch in your mind. Can you tell us a little bit about the switch that you can turn on when you need to get on stage, and how you made that switch?
It's my uber confidence switch. So it was based on reading some books on NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I'm not going to pretend that I'm a neuroscientist or that I can give you everything you need to know about that, but if the story interests you, then I encourage you to go Google it and read some books.
Check out Darren Brown too. He's like the gangster of NLP.
Perfect.
Yeah,
there you go.
Brown,
there you go. There's a link to something you should check out. So I did some reading, and I found out that you can do like a little, it's not even like a meditation, but you can do a routine where you can give yourself a physical trigger, and it's a matter of focusing on this feeling. So I just practice feeling incredibly confident, head to toe, every hair in my body when I used to have hair, down to my toenails, and just feeling complete and utter confidence. And then I associate it with this feeling of standing over top of a setup, and then the whole exercise, and then I would pinch myself here. So it was this whole thing, I did the exercise and I pinched myself here, and I did it at a certain repetition. So now, and I still do it now, like I only play a couple times a year now, and I'm playing at Pride. That's the next thing I'm doing in Toronto, because it's outdoors and during the day, and such a fucking amazing cause.
And they don't call them gay because they don't party.
Yeah,
you know?
it's
Partying with gay people rules, whether you're gay or not. It is fun.
So, and that's I think it's my 9th year playing the South Stage. But that aside, so anyway, all I do is that I stop, I get in a quiet place, I focus, and I pinch here, and I close my eyes, and I'm flushed with confidence. And it's based on an NLP exercise that I did.
Yeah, very cool.
So that, and then something else I do mentally sometimes, which I don't talk to a lot of people about, is if I'm feeling scared, intimidated, worried, whether it's like meeting someone of big influence or importance or a really big gig, I just think to myself, can this person or can this event take away my birthday? I love my birthday.
That's awesome.
And the answer to that question is always no. I've got nothing to worry about.
For me, whenever I get nervous and I'm meeting a famous person, you know, because it's really like, you know, when you meet a famous person, a lot of time you're a big fan of them, but as soon as you start like going into gushy fan mode, it's like it's really hard to have a real conversation. It often makes them uncomfortable. So you know, it's better to, you know, reminisce about like movies that you like, or pets, or, you know, whatever. And when I'm like, okay, I'm, you know, here I am meeting like, you know, like Katy Perry or whatever, you know, and I just remember everybody poops, you know, everybody poops.
Okay, not my spin on that. My spin on that is everyone accidentally gets shit on their hands sometimes when they're wiping their ass.
Yes. Everybody sometimes accidentally gets shit on their hands when they're wiping their ass, and for me that just undoes any. Yeah, like, you're just like okay, pedestal. Yeah, you're.
That's it. The pedestal is like smash.
Yeah, it's really great, and that's, I don't know. It's because I think a lot of your success in the music industry just depends on your ability to make people feel at ease around you, and you know, it's like we're partying for a living. You know, like you gotta. Yeah. You can't take it too seriously. You can't freak out or be nervous or make weird assumptions or whatever, you know. And it's just like so much of it just comes down to just being able to be chill and, you know, make everybody comfortable and make them leave the gig going like, you know what, I really enjoyed hanging out with that person, you know. And a lot of the time, you know, like I go to these different cities every day and you meet these runners, right? And see, it's really funny because often the people who are actually picking you up at the airport are like kind of the bottom of the food chain of that particular party scene, you know, and it's like someone who's, because driving back and forth from the airport and not being at the party sucks, you know, like you're volunteering for a party, but you're driving around, and a lot of these people are very, very nice people. They're very, very cool people, and when they meet you, a lot of the time the first topic of conversation becomes other DJs that they've picked up and who was a dick or not. You know? And it's like, you know, it's like you're saying where like every gig is important, you know, every one of these car rides is important too. And if you're a dick and then that person's just telling all these other artists what a dick you are all the time, it can really actually hurt your career, because these other artists, they're meeting these same runners at the, you know, next time the promoter's throwing a thing. And it's just like, it's just so important to just like be chill and like, you know, be comfortable, make everybody comfortable, and, you know, just make sure everybody has a good time.
That's life in general. There's some leadership exercises that you can run through where you have people list the attributes of their favorite leaders that they've ever worked with or report to, whatever, and then list the attributes of the poor leaders they've worked with, and then you have them break it out and categorize them by IQ, by what is it? IQ, EQ,
emotional quotient.
Yeah, and then just like actual. Jesus, what's the third one I'm forgetting? Is it knowledge? Anyway, oh damn! There's
a square. There's a square there.
There's a pie chart.
A pie chart. Okay.
God damn it! But the point of it is, and it would be a bit better if I remembered what the third quadrant was.
Rob.
Is that all of the attributes for the negative leader are under EQ, and most of the attributes for the positive leader are under EQ as well. For the positive leader, there is a few more things that slip up into the other categories because the perceiver, which is you, allows that person to be a whole person and allows to see the other parts of them. But either way, the make it or break it is whether you're an asshole or not.
Yeah, totally.
It's just it. So like the idea to me that there's some person out there that's spending 20, 30, 40 hours a week on top of some full-time job, eating like pasta and like noodles, scraping by, dreaming to like have a record that may do well so they can get that awesome gig, but then the whole thing's gonna go to shit because they're gonna be rude to someone who's picking them up at the airport. It's no, we're all humans. Like, we're all in this together, and to not forget that. There's lots of stories too of how you don't know who the person is. Tim Ferriss on his God
bless him.
Oh, on his podcast was talking about being at South by Southwest, but all these guys are trying to get in front of them to pitch them, and to get to him, they're like palming his girlfriend out of the way, like shoving his girlfriend out of the way so they could pitch to him.
Oh, but Tim's God, that would be awful.
Like, well, I'm not gonna talk. You just shoved my girlfriend. Like, do you think? Like now we're gonna chat. Now I'm gonna listen to you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So of course they did. That's so important. Yeah, and in everything.
So speaking of random moments that have had large repercussions.
Oh,
right. You made the front page of Reddit a while back.
Yeah, Reddit and BuzzFeed and all those kinds of things. What's the other one that the guys got sued for the Hulk Hogan thing? Like all those.
Oh, Gawker.
Gawker.
Yeah,
all those.
Fuck those guys.
Well, either way, I was on that too. And that video is almost at 1 million views now. Like just shy of 1 million views. So this. Okay.
Sorry.
No, we have to. I don't know how we chat without that coming up, because unfortunately, if you Google me, that's one of the first hits.
Oh, no.
Yeah, dude, it ended up on Tosh.0.
Oh.
On Tosh.0, I'm DJ Cranky Pants.
DJ Cranky Pants.
All right,
yes,
so
DJ Cranky Pants in the house.
When I announced my retirement, gosh, that's 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
Farbs, a mutual friend of ours in Toronto, reached out.
Hi, Farbs.
What's up,
Love
Farbs?
you, buddy. Congrats on your baby.
Farbs reached out and said, hey, I've got this really funny video now that you're retiring. Do you care if I share it? And I didn't realize this moment was captured on tape. And I thought, sure, I look like a bit of a dick, but what's it going to matter? It's going to get seen by a couple hundred people in Toronto, and then that's it.
Okay, so I think we should take a moment to describe the video here. So, in the video, the video itself is probably 11 seconds long, and it is the worst 11 seconds of that entire incident. But basically, why don't you describe the full story?
Sure. So I'm playing 2 gigs that night. I play 1 gig at the Government, which is a really big nightclub in Toronto that's recently shut down, and then I'm going to close out this breaks party that Farbs thrown. Someone like Freddie Fresh was on before.
Ah, Freddie Fresh.
All right. And so I'm closing out. It's late. The bar's closed. So it's kind of leftovers. It's leftover time. And
yeah, the end of the night.
The end of the night. But there is a girl dancing on stage that is insistent that I pay attention to her and her friend. And they're dancing it up and they're grinding up on each other. And they're
I've lost 2 laptops to girls like that. Yeah, drunk girls, don't get on stage, please. We love you. It's not a party without you, but don't get on the stage.
So she's coming over and like, hey, pay attention to me, blah, blah, blah. I was like, super nice the first time, like so kind and nice.
Rob is one of the nicest people I know, so this story is
so nice. I'm like, look, I'm trying to work, please, I need you to, just not, thank you. And then she went away, and then she came back a few minutes later, and she was tugging on my shirt like, hey, come on, pay attention to us, whatever. And then this time I cut the booth volume so she could hear me, and I go, look, I asked you nice, I'm gonna ask you a bit more firm, but if you come back again, I'm probably gonna be a fucking dick. Like, I'm gonna tell you where to stick it, so like, just go. And I turn the booth volume back on, and then this is where the video starts. You see her going to walk off the stage, and her friends are like, get down, and she's kind of laughing, thinking it's all a joke, and she runs back over to me, and this time she's pulling on my headphone cords and pulling on my shirt, and I'm middle of the mix, I got both volumes up, like I'm doing it, I'm in my zone. And I cut the entire volume of the whole system, and I turned to her and say, fuck off, you slut, get out of here, go. And I'm not...
And made shooing gestures.
Like, just
shooing gestures. So that's the 11 seconds you see as DJ Cranky Pants in the mix. And then, boom, huge viral sensation. Because, I mean, every DJ, we've all been there. I had a girl actually spit in my face when I told her I didn't have Britney Spears in my crate once, and I was clawing my way up from the bottom. And I've lost a couple laptops to this before. Yeah. And you never know. It could end up just totally front page of Reddit if you're not careful.
Almost knocked the camera over.
But yeah, and then next thing you know, Rob G just all over the interwebs for all the wrong reasons.
The only thing that felt okay from that is all my close friends when they saw it, and people that knew me that I spent a lot of time with.
I thought it was hilarious. I called you. I was like, dude, that's so funny. Like,
but all my people whose opinion I really care for said to me things like, I didn't know you could get that mad.
It was news to me.
I'm surprised that's you. I can't believe it's you. So hearing those kinds of things, I was like, okay, and this is from 2007. Not that it makes it better, but it is almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
I since apologized to her. She didn't reply, but I did send her a note on Facebook. We've got mutual friends, and just apologizing.
That was nice.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've got 2 kids, 2 loving, amazing, incredible little humans.
They're really cute.
That that make my life so much better and make me a better person. And one of the things that's come up in the last couple of years, and maybe the last year, was swearing. And my daughter's like, when do we swear? Can I swear? Whatever. And I just, instead of being hypocritical, being like, you can't swear, the rules are, you can swear when you're older, around friends, as long as it's not around people you don't know or elders, it's not around children, and it's never at someone directly in a malicious way.
So have they seen the video?
No, but they haven't, but they will. And then I'm the biggest hypocrite. And then, well, but this is going to help me teach another lesson to them, which is the internet is forever.
Yes.
Which is an important
very important lesson. I'm so glad that the internet wasn't forever when I was doing all my stupid shit. Because, man, I did some really stupid shit over the years. I had to be held down and sedated on acid at a party before. Oh, it was terrible. I still run into people who are like, oh, you were that guy. It was like, man, if that was on YouTube, like, I never would have been able to live it down.
So, yeah, and that's, I guess, the difference now, too, is that it's all being documented. And
everything.
So it's going to help me have this other discussion with them, being like, your father's not perfect. The reason why we have these rules about swearing is to help you, and also remember the internet's forever. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a very, very good. Man, I almost was in one of those videos. I was opening for Flux Pavilion in Minneapolis, and there was like, everybody was there. Like, Minneapolis is a great city to play in, and you get these just massive parties there. And anyway, so I'm opening for Flux Pavilion at the Skyway, and there's a ton of people there, and I'm doing my video set, and this was when I had like 2 computers, you know, one doing video, one doing audio, connected by MIDI, like this very precarious kind of setup, you know. And people start getting up on the subs in front of me, and I'm like, this is bad. So I'm trying to flag down security without, like, you know, stopping the show or whatever, and they're not coming to my aid, and, you know, then dudes are getting up on the stage and stuff, and they're all standing in front of the projector, and I'm just like, oh man, come on guys, like, come on. But the stage was like, you know, the table was deep enough that I couldn't just tap them, you know. And I'm like, God, please. So and then, you know, dudes' shirts are coming off, and they're everywhere, this sweaty mess, and I'm going down to go get my next track out, and suddenly a shirtless torso flies sideways past the setup, because I guess they hit the hole in between the subs. So I see a shirtless torso fly sideways, and then in slow motion a hand comes up for purchase to try and like stop himself from falling, and they grab my laptop and take my laptop off of the front of the stage with them. The music stops, and in my mind I saw this shirtless torso. I'm like, this must be a dude, you know. I'm gonna fuck this guy up, you know. And I come around the front of the stage with a fist made, ready for just like bloody chiclets on the dance floor, and it turns around and it's this girl wearing one of those like see-through bras, so it doesn't look like she was like wearing clothes, and then I look, and she's just like, she's crying, and she's holding my laptop out, and I'm just like, oh my God, if I had been drinking any more whiskey tonight, this would have been the worst internet video ever, because it would have just, there wouldn't have been any of the preamble, and it would have just been me punching a girl in the face and taking her laptop. And that would have been the video. I would have been DJ Cranky Pants that night. But I luckily did not punch her, and she apologized, and I was like, please don't go on the stage, thanks. And yeah,
what a story. I think this is worthy of giving Minneapolis a shout out, because it sounds like it's a hell of a party city.
Oh, it's a great city to party in. Great city to party in.
And also apparently in stand-up comedy circles, it's revered as like, that's an amazing place to perform.
Oh, so. Yeah, it's fantastic. And I mean, you know, a lot of music's going, like, I mean, Prince and like that whole, you know, Minneapolis, like there wouldn't be that uptown funk, you know. It's like so inspired by a lot of the Minneapolis sound, like Chromeo were very inspired by the Minneapolis funk sound too. So yeah, it's a really happening city. RuPaul is from Minneapolis too.
Didn't know.
Yeah, RuPaul the Glamazon.
Damn. All right, we got to make a trip.
Yeah, Minneapolis is really awesome, and it's they have a really good food scene there too. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I dig going to Minneapolis every time, man. It's a great city. It's really a lot of fun. Well, hey, speaking of a lot of fun, I think we got a recording studio with our name on it.
Yeah, let's go play.
So yeah, we should go hit it up. Where can people find you online?
ROBB.com, ROBBG. If you Google that, you'll find my SoundCloud, which I think is RobG123. But if you just Google RobG with 2 B's, you'll find my website, my SoundCloud. You'll also find that video.
Hey, any shout outs you want to give?
Wow, shout outs.
I definitely want to give a shout out to Bass Clef. I talked to Stu on the phone the other day. I've you know, as I mentioned, been really heavy into machine lately, and Bass Clef has these just incredible machine kits where he does like live finger drumming, like house and electro performances. And you know, I downloaded some of his machine kits, and it really, like, you know, really opened up a whole
Such a good dude.
Different avenue. I called him up on the phone. He like answered a bunch of my machine questions and stuff. It was really cool.
He's
so I want to definitely give a shout out to Stu, bass clef.
Stu.
Check it out with a K, bass clef. He's a fantastic musician.
He's awesome. He did a really great remix for me moons ago that took a track that was doing well and put it stratospheric. So
Slam dunk. Yeah, that was a hit, man. That record was all over the place.
Shout out to Will Bailey, aka Low Steppa right now. He's killing it under the Low Steppa alias.
I didn't know that was him.
Oh, that's
him.
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense. Yeah, there we go.
Nice connection
what's
made.
What's up, Will? Big up.
He's killing it right now.
Thanks again for the remixes.
Yes. Also want to give a shout out to Claude Van Stroke. I don't know him, but one of these nights I was talking about earlier in this interview where I just went out and lost my shit dancing was to him at Coda in Toronto.
Cool. Yeah, he's another Bay Area cat. Yeah, Dirty Bird crew. They're wicked for sure. But yeah, definitely shouts out to Farbs once again. Congrats on the little one. Shouts out to all the Shambhala fam for sure. Josh Jello, big up. Miss you, buddy.
Yeah, and if we're giving Shambhala shout outs, definitely Brits from Shambhala.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
She's a legend. She's a legend.
Yes.
Word. And yeah, just everybody back in the Toronto break scene. Pat, France, Wes the Electrician, all those guys.
Chew.
Yeah, Chew.
Demonic.
For sure.
All those. There's a whole bunch. It was a thing. We had a scene.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But hey, we haven't forgotten about you guys.
Yeah.
Still a part of us.
Ah.
We love you. All right. Lots of love,
Thanks,
everybody.
All right,
Catch you on the flip side. Peace.